What's going on, people? We are back with the Sideline Specialist episode number 34. We are jumping in to, we got the Super Bowl champion gear as well. Love to see it. Oh, they got the patches down the side. That's nice.
We're cooking.
Like that a lot. We are going to jump into a quick but first 2025 NFL mock draft of the season. And we're going to talk about no more Podcast P. He will finally be focusing on basketball for once, apparently. And we're going to jump into an NHL update and talk about the Four Nations. So without further ado, let's jump into things.
Welcome to Sideline Specialists.
There's going to be a little bit more of a beat drop there. What is going on, Tom? How you doing?
Doing good. Long ass fucking day at work. But we're good. I made it.
I can definitely relate with that.
I got there at 10:30 this morning, which I know for most people they're like, that's not early. And I am just not a morning person. And I was there until like 8, like close to 8-ish. And when I got home, I was like, oh my God. Because I don't think I sat down once. So
oh God, one of those days.
yeah, it was my feet. I like got in the shower and I was like, I'm just gonna stand still for a minute. Like she's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I the last few weeks of work for me have just been so mentally draining that I just like get home and then I sit down even to just like have dinner with the wife and I'm just like
Well, it's especially like my job, all I do is talk to guests. So by the time I get home, I'm like, I don't want noise right now.
yeah, I feel that.
But I was like, even thinking about it on the way home, I'm like, if I don't get wine, I'm gonna just be like this in the podcast. I'm like, I need this to just get me to that place. Like,
Right.
where I have some energy to just be stupid. But
Dude, that's when I used to work IT help desk. That is why I can't stand talking on phones anymore.
dude,
Because like I'm so scarred from picking up the phone every 30 seconds to talk to some idiot that doesn't know how to restart their computer.
thank God you said it, because goddamn.
Dude, it was, I don't miss that at all.
I have a post to share at some point. Ooh. He has returned.
Hot damn.
I was gonna say I just somehow stumbled upon a post that I just saved that we're definitely gonna share during that part
Okay.
of the segment, because it's one of those stats that you see and your brain just goes, huh?
Oh yeah.
And my brain just broke a little bit because it's kind of wild. But
Well, would you rather start with that or do you want to start with NHL?
let's start with NHL.
All right, let's do it.
And then we'll do our like media share, and then we can do whatever.
Sounds good to me. I'm going to bring up my posts in the background. Should have plenty of them because it's been a ridiculous week. But yeah, NHL, we do have to talk about Four Nations because that obviously happened last week while we were on just like a weekly break.
Flyers got one back. Sorry.
Hey, there we go.
Let's go. Michkov again. Let's go, kid.
The final came down to US versus Canada, and I'll let you take it away from there because I saw a little bit of it, but I didn't get to see the whole game.
So I knew it was going to be more tightly contested than the first matchup. And the first matchup was more like, well, okay. First off, the first Four Nations game between the US and Canada will be legendary for a long time. It starts off with the Canadian fans booing the US anthem. So everybody's like, was talking about that. And then the Kachuk brothers just looked at each other on the bench and said, fuck that. 9 seconds into the game, there's 3 fights going on. You're just like, okay, this is an exhibition, guys. This is not what we thought was going to happen. Oh my God. US wins that game 3-1, felt a little easier. Then it comes back to a rematch in the final. And I expected Canada to win, to be honest. I think they had the best roster by a mile of this whole tournament.
Yeah, their roster looks stacked.
Their first line is quite literally 3 Hall of Famers. You had Nathan McKinnon, you had Connor McDavid, and you had Sidney Crosby. That is the stupidest line that has ever suited up next to each other on the ice. And I will fight people if they disagree with that, because that is just insane.
Outrageous.
And it's McDavid who gets it done in overtime for Canada because he was left wide open and he is the best player in the world. And you don't do that. You don't do that. And because he's not going to miss that in a million years. And he did not. But for the NHL, this was a truly massive, monumental success.
Oh, it was amazing.
The viewership this got, how it got the world talking about hockey, it's every single thing is good for the sport. And all these other leagues need to really start taking a page from the NHL in terms of how they either replace all-star tournament or like all-star games entirely with these kind of tournaments that focus on the game being played the way the game should be played. Especially this in hockey, when it comes to wearing your nation on your chest, it matters so much to these guys, regardless of the context.
Oh, hell yeah. You can tell every time.
And this was just phenomenal, like truly phenomenal. Obviously, now we're back to regular games going on. And it just feels like there's a lot more energy coming out of that around the league. So it's been pretty dope.
And it's just like the fact that it had everyone comparing like the NBA All-Star Weekend, because obviously those were going on around the same time. It was just insane of like how many even basketball faithful like put the hockey Four Nations like above anything basketball that happened that weekend. Because while like Adam Silver, bless his heart, he keeps trying to do different things with the All-Star game in hopes that people give a shit, it never actually ends up working. Because and like when you think of it from all angles, it's like the NBA guys, their contracts are so fucking ridiculous that like
ludicrous.
If you say to me, you could try in this game and maybe get hurt for the rest of the season, or don't try in this game, get a super max contract the next year and like fight for a championship, you can see why there's no like real motivation there. What's going on, Shaq? Missed you too, man. Happy to have you back on the show. Appreciate you here as always. But that was the cool thing about Four Nations, though, is you could tell these guys were passionate. They loved it. They fought for everything for their country and just for the guys that were playing side by side that they don't even play with all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you would never see that type of thing in an NBA All-Star game unless you like went back in time to like the Jordan or Kobe or like early 2000s era.
Because that's the thing. You watch the NBA All-Star game now, and it's like those caliber of players are there.
Right.
But it turns into like a gimmick. Like it's just like half court shots and absolutely no defense. Half the time they're not even hustling. And it's just like no one wants this. No one's wanted it for a long time. And at some point they have to actually do better. Like I like the skills competitions. I will always enjoy watching those, but it's just a matter of picking the right people to be in it too.
Right.
Like that's the other part of it. It's like you can make all this very entertaining. It's not right now.
Exactly.
And that's all it is. Like MLB does a great job because they have classics that work for a reason. The home run derby is just everyone's going to watch it and enjoy it. You don't even need to think. It's just like, yep. And then what I wish the MLB would do is obviously bring back the incentive of the All-Star game, which is the winning team hosts the World Series, whichever conference.
That was cool.
Like that, the league, because that literally made it so every single one of those guys is trying, and that makes it better for all the people in attendance and then everybody watching because all eyes are on that for that sport. There's no regular games going on; it's a break. So
exactly,
it just doesn't make sense to me that the NHL, which is clearly financially the smallest, and it's not really close, like they're just way down there,
right,
is able to come up with these really incredible ideas more often than these leagues, which clearly have more employees to be thinking of things. It's just like, I just don't get it. So
exactly. It makes no sense why, like, they are doing that much better in that realm than everyone else. The NFL, the Pro Bowl, has literally turned into something that I don't know if anyone even watches.
it's flag football.
Yeah.
I like, does it look like they're having fun? Yes. Am I having fun watching it? No.
No. I haven't turned anything Pro Bowl related on the TV since like 2008.
I believe. Well, that was what a year to even bring up too, because that was like what a loaded, incredible season
Oh yeah.
across the NFL. But
Like,
I fully agree.
It's ridiculous.
Because you see old highlights from like the very early 2000s of like Brady getting decapitated, or like the punter getting his head taken off by Sean Taylor. You're like, where the fuck is that? Where's that shit? Because that is fire. And now it's flag football, so they can't even touch each other. I'm like, are you joking?
Yeah. It literally has turned into, and not only just flag football, but it's just like it just like looks like a literal backyard football game where it's just like, oh, there's nobody blocking, there's nobody doing anything, and just like, oh yeah, let's just try and throw a jump ball. Like, it's literally nothing. I will say that the quarterback like skill thing is cool. Like the quarterback's hitting the targets.
Yeah, well, but that's half of what I mean is like you have this All-Star weekend or the Pro Bowl weekend, and the actual game that it culminates in is the most disappointing thing. Like that's a problem. My biggest Shaq, I agree with all this.
Yeah, I agree too, Shaq.
The MLB would be less disappointing for me if they would do what they used to do, where every player wears their own fucking jersey.
True.
That was the pinnacle of the All-Star game, is you would look at the infield and you would see like a Dodger, a Philly, a Met, a Brave, like all in their actual uniform, but playing together. And
I liked that about basketball too, when they all wore their own uniform.
Oh, brother, those pictures of like Kobe wearing 8 with MJ right next to him in his Bulls uniform. It's just like you just literally feel chills.
And like Iverson in the black 3. Like
it was, you know what, actually I'll say this: the Sixers franchise is doomed until they make those their jerseys again.
It's I just can't.
We can transition right now if you want.
We might as well. We're already here.
I've
We'll
set
get
you up.
to
You're wearing a
we'll get-
Sixers hoodie.
we'll get to the social stuff here and after this. But
That can wait. Let them cook.
real quick, Shaq, I agree. Four Nations was definitely really fun outside of like any kind of playoffs, like just regular season anything. Four Nations was super fun. The thing I hate about the Sixers is they're just, as a franchise, they are the most unfucking serious franchise that has had to ever exist outside of like maybe like the A's.
Yeah, the A's might have an argument here.
Yeah, exactly. Like the A's are down there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I got another one. We're picking on baseball again. The White Sox.
Oh, yes, yeah, White Sox as well. But it's just like every time somebody gives the Sixers any benefit of the doubt, they find a way to be like, why would you give us benefit of the doubt? We're fucking terrible. And you have Paul George, who I saw somebody actually totaled up the amount of podcast clips, episodes, and shorts that Paul George posted versus the amount of points he had. And he had more of the podcast stuff. So then what does he do? On his podcast yesterday, he announces, I'm stepping away from the podcast to focus on my body and focus on turning this team into a contender and winning a championship. I'm sorry, Paul. You decided that 50, 60 games into the fucking season? Like, you legitimately thought it was a smart idea to tell everyone, guys, I've been focusing on the podcast too much. Now that we're almost all the way out of the playoffs and we're 3.5, I think now 4 or 4.5 games out of the 10 seed, which is the very last play-in. Now I'm gonna stop focusing on podcasting and play basketball. Like, what in the fuck? And the last game they even played against the Knicks, like in the first half, they were down by like 19. And I was like, so this is you focusing? Literally. But then I will give him credit. At the end of the game, he ended up with like 24, 6 and 7, whatever. But I was just like, dude, read the fucking room first and foremost. Understand what city you're playing in before you. If you were still playing for the Clippers, nobody fucking cares about the Clippers. Like, sure, say that over there. If you were still in Indiana, like the broad market of people would be like, whatever, it's Indiana. But the fact that you had the nerve to say that this long into the season was just like, he needs to hire a PR firm. He need whoever Jalen Hurts has for his whole team.
Oh my God, yeah.
He needs to go hire every single one of them. And
well,
Shaq,
I agree. Jalen Hurts has this, and this is the reason I love him over any other Eagles QB we've had. Only Vic might have had my like heart more just for that rush that we got because they were winning. Hurts has this maturity at his age that just is not normal.
Right.
And he has the ability to sit and think before speaking. He's never like no knee-jerk reactions when he's talking to the media. So you don't get any sound bites of anything bad. And then anytime he's mic'd up in a game, it's just him getting hype as fuck. And it's like, what you see it and you're like, where's the negative? But when you look at the NBA, there is this like infection of softness that has just crept into like so many players. There's some guys who play crazy hard every game and don't give you any of that kind of drama. Paul George seems like a drama guy though, because I look at it, I'm like, how many teams you been on now? But you think about yourself in this upper echelon, but you haven't been that in a long time. And at this point, it's like, brother, the podcast should have been on the back burner the same night you signed that fucking contract. Like it literally, it's that simple. So to openly admit in this manner during a season that is this bad for the team you are now on, that you are then like the podcast was taking up too much attention. Like the whole fan base they're off you, period. You're in the wrong city to be saying shit like that. Like we're done. And
1,000%.
And then to look at this, I'm going to bring this up right now because I think this is perfect time. I made sure I found this. Let me go ahead and we'll let him cook because we had to fucking do it to him.
Oh, God.
Had to do it. It was absolutely necessary in every way. So here's the big one. We're just going to start with this because what the literal fuck? What is that? Can we discuss this right here versus my boy over here? Half the price, ladies and gentlemen, half. But we're going to go down and we can go ahead and determine if half price. Yeah, I mean, like better field goal percentage. He's obviously down on assists because the Pistons are a more balanced team at the moment who clearly know how to balance that better. He's getting more rebounds a game. I mean, like, what? It's not even a question. He's better at the free throw line. Field goal percentage is comparable.
He's played 14 more games.
That too. It's like he's available more. Tobias was just a guy that Philly wanted to hate right away, and it was always going to hate because they wanted Jimmy Butler instead. I can get it from that perspective because at that time, I think we all felt that way. We were like,
right.
Jimmy Butler's clearly the guy that we should be putting more effort into keeping. Didn't happen. But I think about it now and you go, okay, yeah, we wanted Harris gone that bad. Maybe we shouldn't have. We'd have more cap space available, which means more moves could be made if we had re-signed him to a deal like this instead of signing a guy like Paul George, who, just to remind everybody on this planet, is 34 years old. He's not LeBron. The only guy who will ever do the things LeBron is doing at his age is LeBron. That will never happen again, period. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I had to bring this up just because it's like these stats are close enough overall, especially in terms of what they provide for their team game to game based on what else is playing, like who else is playing. Detroit is lucky that, well, up until I believe last night, Thompson got hurt, but they've been lucky to avoid a lot of injuries. And it's helped them go on this hell of a run. They just beat the shit out of Boston, and I loved it.
Yeah. And they're currently the 6th seed.
Yeah. Like they are, it is wild to say that the Detroit Pistons might host a playoff series. Like it would have been wild if you said that preseason, but now it feels real. Like,
oh yeah,
they can do
and
it.
Like JB Bickerstaff full on deserves Coach of the Year. I mean, being able to not only turn around the Pistons, but bring in the new guys they did. And they're doing it without Jaden Ivey. Ivy's out for the season. So, like, that's one of your top players right there.
I was so heartbroken for him.
I know. And he was cooking, too. He was he was increasing steadily in a lot of his numbers. And when you watch all the things with the Pistons, that team in general looks so much happier, so much more tight-knit.
Yeah.
So the chemistry looks off the charts. And if I'm Tobias, I am laughing so hard at everybody in Philly because I'm over here, I'm doing better. I'm still getting paid. I'm on a team that has much better cohesion. The fans and the city they're just excited to be relevant again.
Well,
like everything's on the up.
The biggest thing for Tobias that I have to imagine he's elated about, he's the oldest guy on the team.
Right.
So he gets to just be a mentor. He's not like, it's not all on his shoulders the way you would have a burden in Philly when you're on a team like that. Like he gets to play relaxed and he gets to teach these guys because he has so many years of experience now. drafted in 2011. So I mean, you think about that body of work. It's like obvious. Like, I have to respect that and appreciate that. Um, and you just get to have fun because they had no expectations from the outside. I'm sure they had hopes for themselves because
Right.
they're clearly competitive, all competitive people. But it's like in my opinion, they're like the most fun team to watch outside of OKC because it's just like one of those cool stories.
Exactly. I
And they
love
do a
Cade
lot.
Cunningham.
Oh, he's so good.
He's awesome. And I'm just glad he's staying healthy, like, because he's been amazing.
There's so many first overalls that immediately get labeled a bust, and then there's so many first overalls that go into a situation that seems like it's never going to get better. But he and all the other guys they've drafted, because they've been drafting pretty damn well,
Yeah.
are willing this team to a point where they clearly are going towards something. Like, there's actually progress. And it's a rebuild that a lot of teams should really try and remake because now it's just a build. They're done rebuilding. Now they can just build. They have the guys, and
Right.
you just build around it. We went on a tangent here, but I needed to roast Paul George a little bit, and also the Pistons are just like the coolest NBA story currently because nobody on this planet thought they would be in this position this deep. And then to be this deep in the season and also be on an 8-game win streak is incredible.
Agreed. But
my God, Steph Curry has 52. Sorry, go ahead.
Jesus.
He has 12 threes. Jesus Christ.
Shaq says, if you aren't LeBron, Durant, or Curry, you have no reason in hell getting a supermax at 34. Exactly. That's a big part of it.
Well said.
And what did everyone do when Luka got traded for Anthony Davis? We roasted the shit out of them. And Anthony Davis isn't even fucking 31 yet. I'm pretty sure he just turned 30. That might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's not even that old.
And what did he do in the first game with the Mavs?
31. Sorry.
Got hurt.
Exactly. And like the thing that fucking kills me is like, look, there wasn't like half the team was on expiring contracts last season, and the whole strategy there was, okay, we're just going to try and get like a brand new team around Embiid and Maxey, and we're going to try and make things fit and work, which I wasn't like. Hindsight's always 2020, but when I was looking at that, I was like, hey, you know what? This could work. Find some more people, bring some other big guys in. If Tobias was on less than the contract he got, he would not have been as controversial or hated in Philadelphia as he was.
I will agree with that.
Yeah, and like if he was making even like the mid veteran, so like probably around like 15 a year to 20 a year, he would not be that hated. And so, but anyway, I was like, you know what? Yeah, this could be all right. You find some people, piece it together. But like the fact that they counted on signing Paul George at the age of 34, who is more than well known for having an injury history, and saying like, this is what we're doing. We're not only like depending on Embiid of all people to be healthy, but we're also going to compound that by saying, let's hope to God Paul George is healthy at the age of 34. So now you have two guys over the age of 30 with injury histories and max contracts. Yep. And that's what you're trying to just like hope and pray you get one good half a season healthy with both of them at the same time. That's not how this shit works.
Yeah.
And so it just kills me that like that was the whole plan. And now like I feel bad for Embiid, especially because like he already gets hated as it is from outside Philly fans, but then even plenty of Philly fans have hated Embiid for the last couple of years anyway. But the guy's body is literally just failing on him, and like you can obviously see he's never going to be the same Embiid that won the MVP. And I feel bad for him because he literally just like day to day, it's gotta hurt. Like the knee issues and the Bell's palsy and the broken faces, and it all adds up. And so your personal life is already taking a hit. You can't even play how you used to play. He obviously can't move like side to side or cut or make like any sort of quick movements. So now you're kind of like, hopefully we get a 75% healthy Embiid with Maxi and maybe a healthy Paul George, and maybe we re-sign Yabusele, and maybe Yabusele's also, I'm pretty sure he's 29 right now. So we're hoping that we re-sign a really good, albeit role player, who's turning 30 next year. So like now we're thinking like, oh, maybe we build around McCain and Maxi, and I would love that. But like, I love that we hit on Justin Edwards. Like Edwards looks like a solid NBA rotational player. And like Quentin Grimes seems like there's something there, but also we traded for Quentin Grimes, who's on an expiring contract, so you got to re-sign him too. So like, what money is there going to be left if you're not willing to jump into like the second tax apron? Which
Absolutely none is the answer.
Exactly, which I highly doubt fucking what's his ugly face is going to want to fucking do. And let's wrap that all that up and say, hey guys, we want to build a new arena. Who the fuck's coming to your arena to watch that?
Literally. Well, especially even the drama around that. It was like, is it going to be in Center City? Is it not going to be in Center City? No one fucking wants it in Center City. Okay, I guess not. Like, it's just, there's just too much. There's like so much distraction too. It's like,
but they were even dirty fucking rats for that whole thing. They pushed through the whole thing. City council says like, yeah, let's do it. And then they're like, oh, this was a bargaining chip the whole time. We're actually going to keep it in South Philly. We just needed to get this to be confirmed. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yes. Well, it's like, well, that's the other thing too, is the thing we talked about for so long is like, when you have a team owner who owns another team in a different sport in a different city that is a rival city in said sport, it's like that never ends well. And obviously with Josh Harris, that is currently the case. So it going forward, it's like the Sixers need to be fucking sold. The entire front office, I don't care who you are, like scouts can go, because like draft wise, there's probably a couple scouts that get to stay because McCain was a hit and Maxey was a hit. So whoever was involved in making sure the Sixers did in fact draft them. And then, like you said, Edwards, like there's these guys that are found. But whoever's in charge of making trades, in charge of making contracts, who's like, they got to go. Coaching staff can go. Like, you want to really know what a rebuild is? It's what Hinkie started and didn't get to finish. He cleaned the whole building out. That's what a rebuild is. It's top down. Everybody goes. You bring in new shit and you go for it. That's what the Flyers are doing right now. And I can actually see direction, it gives me that hope.
Exactly.
And then the Phillies did the same thing. One little piece at a time. You draft Aaron Nola. You know he's going to be phenomenal. You get Ranger Suarez, and he was kind of just like around for a while, but then you see him develop into somebody. You sign Bryce Harper at the moment you think you could turn that corner, and look at how good they've been since. Like, you make a World Series, make a championship series, make the division series. Like, these are like, just relating to Philly, it's like, this is what you got to fucking do. And then Shaq makes the perfect point by the other Josh Harris owned team did this shit. He came in as the new owner. They cleared the shit the fuck out, and then they made the NFC Championship game. So it is literally a case of it's completely possible. But there's a certain like willpower you have to have, even as the players that end up on these teams, to know like, we might suck right now, but we keep working for it, and you can get there. And I know there's guys on the Sixers that believe that. Maxey is clearly one of those guys. I think Oubre is one of those guys, because I think he would bleed he would bleed like crazy for just to win. But I feel
Oh,
bad
yeah.
for him in the sense that obviously like we can't. But I think they can get there. It's just there's a lot of things that have to happen, and it's going to take a lot more time than it ever should have.
Well,
Unfortunately,
it's gonna take even longer now because like we don't have like our own first round draft pick
Yeah.
for a long ass time after all the fucking moves that were made. And
Yep.
that's the thing that kills me is like I'm probably in the minority when I say like I wish Sam Hinkie just saw his whole plan through, because there was a lot of Philly people that were all up in arms about the tanking and how bad the team was. But to be honest with you, I enjoyed watching that team more than this team right now because that team gave a
100%.
shit and hustled 100% of the time.
Bro, the TJ McConnell buzzer beater against the Knicks will live rent free in my head for the rest of my life.
Oh,
The
I watch
hype,
that at least once a week.
the hype of that. Like it
Like-
literally, but it's guys like TJ McConnell when he was a Sixer that you're like, those are the fucking players we need. They will
Right.
give you everything every single night. It doesn't matter if it's like a lost season, if you put that in air quotes. It's like it just didn't matter. They wanted to win. Always.
Like Tony Roten was just like throwing his body everywhere. There were just
Insane.
guys doing everything. And it
Freaking
just,
Robert Cunningham when he first got signed was like my guy.
oh yeah.
I
yeah.
love Rocco, man. Or
yeah,
Covington. It was like
Covington, yeah.
so sick. It just like, but that was my whole thing was give me that back. Like inject that energy into my veins. Because
Exactly.
we just haven't had it. Like this Sixers team with a core even close to this hasn't felt it since the Toronto series in 2019.
Right.
Like that was kind of where it died for me in my head.
Yeah, and it's been rough too because like you haven't really seen Embiid enjoy basketball for the last like 2-3 years. Like
Yeah.
it seems like everything has been just like a labor for him. I mean, especially with the injuries and everything, on top of literally everyone talking about how disappointing he is and how they're saying that like he hasn't done XYZ in his career. So now he's got to deal with like all the people talking about him, all the injuries and everything. And he has to like drag his leg around. And like he just doesn't look like he's having fun playing basketball at all, especially like you get into this season and he had the whole thing with Marcus Hayes and then the whole knee thing and everything and the foot and the ankle and everything. So like it just doesn't look like he enjoys it that much. And honestly, with all of that being said, I don't fully like blame him for feeling that way, but it's just like it just shows that like the time of this whole core and this whole team in general, just like the days are numbered. And it kills me because like I remember how I felt when like Embiid first showed like the flashes of how good he was, and then the feeling of like Embiid, it all culminating to Embiid winning an MVP, and it felt so fucking good to just see him live that out, and it was like, okay, please just get to a championship. I'm not even asking to win one, just get there.
Yeah. And it didn't happen.
No. Just kill it. It's just like it is heartbreaking.
Just picturing like Family Feud. What is masochism? Like it's this. It is being a Sixers fan. Thank you very much.
And Shaq says the culture in the NBA is dead, and especially in the Sixers organization. Only a few guys have the real motivation, and the rest just enjoy the money. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Look, I like. Don't get me wrong. Like, the NBA should try to get as much money as they can, and like the TV deals and all that kind of stuff make contracts blow up and all sorts of things. And there's going to be the guys that just go out there and just play for their bag. But it will take a culture shift from somebody. Like Anthony Edwards, I think, is one of those culture shift guys.
Dude, I literally was going to say Ant is a guy that I don't care what game it is. They could be, and last night's game, perfect example.
Yep.
Down by 24 in the fourth. In the last 1,502 games, with that being the piece of data, teams with the lead of 24 points in the fourth quarter were 1,502-0, and now they're fucking not. So it is a case of guys will come along, and start transforming this. And he's like probably leading that, like you said.
Exactly.
I like Shea. Shea is another guy I think I would absolutely put in that. All he does every single year is work to get better and better and better. And I don't know where the fuck his ceiling is because somehow he's still going up. I'm like,
I
okay.
know. He's
Um,
insane. I
but
mean, all
yeah,
those guys on OKC seem to be hungry and competitive. And I mean, uh Wembenyama, like I don't know if you saw the Court of Gold documentary on Netflix, but that shit, seeing Wembenyama in there, I'm like, yo, this guy is one of the hungriest guys in the NBA to try and win something. Highly recommend the documentary, by the way. The Court of Gold documentary was awesome. But it's just insane. It was crazy seeing yes, Shaq, agreed. Anthony Edwards is definitely the prime example. Um the Court of Gold documentary was just insane because like following all of those Olympic teams going to the gold, you saw how invested the top guys in Team USA really were. Like you got to see like Kevin Durant, they asked him about a couple different things and he started crying because he loves the game of basketball.
yeah,
And like, say what you want about what Kevin Durant did with the whole move to Golden State, but that guy loves basketball to a point where like it is his entire life. Like it's his whole personality, it's his entire life, everything. Then you
yeah,
got Steph Curry, who lives for everything in the moment. LeBron, I mean, that doesn't even need to be said. Then all the coaches were all like some of the top coaches in the league. Like you had Steph Curry, you had Ty Lue was in there, and then what's his name from Miami? I don't
oh,
know why I'm forgetting his name.
I can picture his stupid face.
Yeah,
Um,
but like
wow.
all the top coaches are there, all great
What
guys.
Spolstra.
Spolstra, Spo, yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
was like, I'm fucking we're not waiting to find his name.
yeah, no, I was like, I know it
Jesus.
starts with an S, I just couldn't think of it.
You've been around a
Uh,
minute.
but then like then seeing like Anthony Edwards and like there was a scene there where Obama is talking to Embiid and Edwards and Obama's talking to Embiid and he's like, "Yo, this guy's like he's pretty good, isn't he?" And Embiid was just messing around saying like, "Ah, yeah, he's okay." And Edwards like immediately was like, "Okay, bitch, I'm the truth." And like
Hell yeah.
Obama calls over like LeBron and everybody's like, he's saying he's the truth. And LeBron goes, "Oh yeah, he's saying he's the whole truth and nothing but the truth." Like that's the kind of confidence that Anthony Edwards has, and that's the kind of confidence you need if you're gonna do anything in the NBA.
You know what the other thing I think about too is like look at all this look at like the past in sports, right? You'd have greats and they were given nicknames either
Right.
by something they said or just their style or whatever. That's not really a thing. Like right now. And like you obviously you had Embiid name himself the process because of obviously what Hinkie said, so it just made sense.
Right.
But we need that again. We need that again. We need the guys that's like somehow get this title that was just given to them because they transcend the game.
Right.
Ant clearly can be that guy. And it's just his everything about him. Like his style on the court is both exciting and fundamental at the same time. He's not going over the top every game to just be flashy. Like you'll get those moments because it's the right call. Like he'll dunk the shit out of somebody to just make a statement, and he also is in a position to know he can make it. It's not going to end up just like some shitty clip where it's like, oh, stupid play, his ego's too high. It's like you don't see him do too much too often. Like it'll happen a couple times, but it's like it's not him. And that's the same with Shea. I watch Shea play, and I'm like, bro, this guy literally looks like he could go games and games without a single mistake.
Oh
Like
yeah.
just effortlessly too. And
Ridiculous.
it's that kind of
Mm.
mindset that I think will carry the NBA into a better period as long as these guys get a chance to shine.
Oh yeah. And Shaq here says, look at players like Kyrie, you can tell who loves the game. I think Booker is really matured. It's easy to tell who wants it. Booker was another guy. I mean, that was one thing when all the NBA guys were tweeting about like Team USA before they like formed the team, Booker said, "Yo, I'll take a step back and be a role player. Like I just want to be on the team and win a gold." Like he
Yep.
flat out said that when there's other guys that refuse to just not be the star guy. And Kyrie, while I will admit I had a lot of criticism for Kyrie, like from the COVID season and onward, with a lot of like crazy things he was saying and a lot of the whole flat earth and all sorts of different stuff that he was talking about.
What a wild.
While I criticized a lot, you can tell he loves the game of basketball, and he does give back to the community a lot too, especially the Native American community as well. So he is a big proponent of the game too, and it's just it's that's the thing with watching the Sixers right now. I can tell Tyrese Maxey is pissed off that the team is how it is, but I can't tell the same with Paul George and uh, uh, like Daryl Morey and some of the other guys. Like Joel Embiid, I can see he's pissed because of how his body is working, but also
Yeah.
because contrary to the popular belief, Joel Embiid wants to win desperately. Like he keeps trying to get new people to help the team win, and he was going to help any way possible. But Maxi is the one guy where I'm watching and I'm like, oh, he's livid. Like he can't stand that this team is playing how it is.
Well, and the other thing I wish people would think about too is like injuries like the ones Embiid has don't just happen in games where you play soft. They happen in games where you play hard and you're clearly trying. And it's happened so much over his career now that his body is just kind of broken.
Right.
And it's really unfortunate for a lot of reasons because to see a guy really try and give his all this long, and I know you can criticize the playoff like performances, whatever. He's never made it healthy because he had to do so fucking much in the regular season to get them to a seed where they had an advantage. And we are now at a point where you have to genuinely sit back and think maybe his career could be over at this point, at least as like especially as like a superstar. He could still be a star, but that level in the NBA between those two things, it's like a fair gap. And somebody who has these major injuries this much, like we know what that does to an athlete, especially one of his size. It's just, it's very debilitating. And mentally too, like the mental strain on him right now, I cannot fathom. I cannot.
Right.
Because it's just been years of hearing nothing but criticism for a lot of different things. But to be criticized because your body can't stay healthy is something that like he does not actually really have that much control over. It just seems to happen to him, and it sucks because I love the effort he's always given Philly.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a case we're kind of hitting that point now where like it's a business.
Right. Exactly.
We gotta really think long term here, and we have guys that we can build around. Should we choose to kind of move towards that? So,
right. I'll always have respect for him. The fact that he comes back from broken faces, Bell's palsy, knees, ankles, foot, and continues to play in the playoffs and try and fight for everything he does. Because like that's exactly what you want in a player. That's what everyone's like, oh, the NBA is soft, like guys are hurt all the time. Like he is hurt all the time, but he's also trying to play through it as any time he gets.
well,
So like
the other thing I remind people too, I'm like, bro, they're not playing on a mattress or a waterbed. They're playing on a hardwood floor with concrete underneath it.
right.
And they like Embiid weighs like north of 320. So if he like falls over a dude's back onto that, the amount of force imparted onto a small part of his body when he hits that floor, like it's not like you hit something and there's a little give. There's zero give.
Right.
And then you have like a dude landing on you who, when you see them on TV, you're like, oh, whatever. When you see them in person, you feel like a midget. Like it literally is a case of these are all giant human beings compared to the regular population. When bodies collide, it is just different than if you walked into somebody on the street. It's so different. So for him to be tough enough mentally and physically to always come back, he will never lose my respect for that. Because it's just like it's built into him, even just like where he came from to get here. It's like that's clearly just ingrained. But if you're like the Sixers as a franchise, you need to kind of be like, okay, we need to like maybe start figuring out how to move in a different direction. Which is a shame to say, but it's how it's got to be.
With that being said, we can move on to the social media videos if you have yours ready.
I have one. I'm just gonna pull it up because this was the funniest shit I saw in the 2-week hiatus. I was cracking up at this. This made me laugh so much. So this is Georgia's closer in one of the first games, the college baseball season. Do this in a live game is fucking wild. He just turns, looks at the runner at second, does that, and strikes out the batter to win the game. It's just like, what do you mean?
Oh, that's insane.
Truly superb. I'll probably just go into our messages and I'll find another one because I sent you a bunch of my like bangers that I kept finding.
Oh yeah. So I have a couple. I don't have that many this time around, but there's one that I already sent you, but I have to play it because
Yeah.
Kiss it. Huh? Apologize. Kiss. You want me to kiss your... That's right. Apologize. Okay. I'll see here. Apologize.
And then gotta
He's going to throw it out of the backfield is Ahmad Hall. Hall with a first down and a Titanic.
Of course, it's against Tennessee too.
Oh, of course.
He fucking hated that team.
On Dustin Keller. Quick throw, quick pass, inside the 5, close ball, picked up by the Ravens.
God, I love Ray Lewis, man. Oh, not Ochocinco. No, Chad. No. No, Chad. No. Get down. I'll try to block Ray.
I hit Ray by accident.
Ray by
Well, Ray Lewis, what he saw here was
sugar.
Slow. You saw what he hit.
the fact
Number
that
80 got
the
smoked.
broadcasters
by-
have- Oh,
Oh,
sugar.
sugar.
Oh, my, hit in the backfield. It's timing it perfectly. Who else? But fake string one way, goes the other.
This one's legendary for all the right reasons.
Like people don't
Do that to
hit
George.
First down from the 15. Flip it in the flat.
Is Eddie too?
And George rudely missed at the 15. Falls forward for a yard.
That's perfect.
Favre under pressure and goes down. What a hit from Ray Lewis.
Good old Brett.
He's going to become a blocker.
Ooh.
I'm going to do one of yours. Boom.
Oh, that guy's in the Shadow Realm.
Flags are down as the ball is completed. Oh, what a shot on the chops. Oh, Nathan Poole.
Goodness gracious. All right, I found one I was looking at. Oh, God. Go ahead.
So we have to bring this up because
Yeah.
apparently the Ravens decided to have the absolute worst offseason of pretty much all time in terms of past and present. Like,
They looked at the University of Georgia and were like, "You think you can do crimes well? Sit back and watch this."
it's, my favorite is like fucking Ben Cleveland. The cop was like, "Have you been drinking?" He's like, "Yeah, I had 3 to 4 beers." And his blood alcohol content was double the legal limit. Like, sir, you are 300 pounds. To have double the limit, those 3 to 4 beers had to be like half gallon.
Well, no, here's what my imagination, because he is literally the size of a small truck, and he has Cleveland in his name, was just him holding a keg of Natty Light above his head and just drinking the whole thing, because as we all know, that is water. But
Of course.
it could probably get you there. But that one, I was like, what the fuck? we've already mentioned the Justin Tucker thing, and then somehow it just keeps getting fucking worse every 10 seconds. The Suggs one, I can't even lie to you. It didn't shock me that much when I read all the details. I was like, I could see him maybe doing that because there were moments of just the anger outbursting on the field, and I'm like, you can get away with it there. Don't let it translate into like the public. He did.
Right.
Kind of a bummer.
I will say the very first thing I saw about his story, I think someone made a typo and it said gin instead of gun. And I was
pulls
like,
gin on man.
I was like, since when is it illegal to pull out gin in a drive-thru?
I'm just picturing him like backs into the guy behind him, right? And he just jumps out with like a bottle of Bombay Sapphire, just like just insane. You're like, what the fuck?
So I was like, wait, this is confusing. He pulled out gin, and then I went to the next story and it said pulled out gun. I was like, oh, that makes more sense.
Shaq, my perfect response to what you just said is the torch gets passed every few years. So like you had the Bengals with like Pac-Man did some bullshit on and off the field, and then it was like you had Roethlisberger in that bullshit in their like mid 2000s or like late 2000s, and you were like, what the fuck's going on? Obviously when we were little kids, it was Ray. With the whole
obviously Deshaun Watson.
Yes, well, I don't even like saying his name anymore, man. But that's the problem. Is Justin Tucker's just trying to do his shit, which I'm like, really?
And his wife just came out today.
I trust him. I believe him.
Yeah.
Ugh. I just the number one meme I saw with this whole thing was looks like Justin Tucker's on his way to a max contract with the Browns. It's just like, God damn it, man. Not too soon.
I will say, out of all of these, the funniest thing is the Steve Smith one.
100% bro.
The fact that the woman's now ex-husband posted all of their like text threads, and it was so cringe.
Yeah.
And
I'm looking at that dude, and I was like, "What's your game like in bed, bro?" Because like, it's got to be soft.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Gotta be.
But also, like, the fact that the girl said that Steve Smith rearranged her IUD. I was like, what the fuck?
Fucking Jesus Christ. That is the greatest shit I've ever. Where's my Steve Smith jersey? I'll put it on. I don't even give a fuck. This is like, it's just legendary, but and here's just facts. It fits him for some reason because it's not like he didn't commit a crime. I don't care. It's like whatever,
it's morally
dude.
Wrong.
Yeah, it's morally wrong. But I look at him, I'm like, okay, I need more deets. It's like, who came on to who? Were you just like, I'm gonna fuck you? Like, it just, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? But it's, I couldn't help but laugh the whole time. And then the freaking screenshots came out, and I was like, no way, no way, you're releasing this shit into the world.
Yeah, and the guy even posted it on like her Facebook. Like he posted, just said like, I'm having an affair with Steve Smith, like on her Facebook. I was like, what?
It's like she has a block button, bro. It's gonna go away at some point. Like it's not.
Yeah.
The legal proceedings for divorce will happen or whatever, and then that's that. See ya. I'm gonna pull my clip up because it's conveniently another purple and black team.
I was just gonna say the last thing I had.
Oh, go ahead.
Was just Marlon Humphrey classic on Twitter. Would you rather take a gorilla punch or a horse kick to the chest?
First one, not a question. I don't need a hoof going through my entire ribcage.
Yeah, and I love how the first comment was him saying, "Have to remember, horses kick with both feet."
Facts.
Even 1 foot,
bro. How about that second comment?
Oh yeah, I know.
He played. I thought he was okay this season.
He actually replied to this.
Ooh, let him cook.
He said, "I actually would rather play on the PGA Tour."
Let's go, Marlon. I love it. That's amazing, actually. And this clip I'm going to show is just too perfect because it's against the White Sox. and I don't care that it's in spring training. This is the kind of flexing that needs to be done on that organization right now. Because what a dumpster fire. Let me pull this up. All right. This dude is electric.
The second, the pitch, swing, and a miss with a pitch in the dirt. And there's the jump and the split.
Oh, the energy's great.
After his second strike.
He does this every single strikeout.
That's amazing.
And there's variations of it. I saw another one where he like almost like drew a lightning bolt in the air. And I was like, okay. And the comments are just as fucking like whiny as you would think.
Of course they are.
These Caribbeans and their horrible celebrations. Calm down. It's just spring training. It's like, brother, you have no idea what it's like to live in a place that offers you basically no future and then will yourself to be a professional athlete that made it to the majors.
Right.
Like it is just there's levels. And for him to have, especially pitching too, I feel like it's just different. But to have the confidence, to have that energy, that vibe, it's like I look at the Rockies, they've been struggling for a really long time too. They need this shit. They need this shit. The youth to come in with this kind of energy because baseball has needed to like acclimate to the times for forever.
Oh yeah.
And the only go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that the one like point I'll make based on that sentence I just said is the Yankees giving up their fucking no facial hair rule after 49 years is progress for probably the biggest team, I think easily in this league. It's like they're as old as they are. They've won the most championships by a fucking insane margin. Bandwagon or not, they have the biggest following. So it is just like that's a big deal. But they need this shit.
I agree with you, and I have always thought that of all the four sports, baseball needs to embrace people that have their own personality and show that personality.
Yes.
Because football, you get the fun touchdown celebrations, the sack celebrations, you get like the cool like people doing the handshakes and different things. Basketball, you have like a couple players with signature celebrations or just like I mean and hockey, basketball, football, you have ridiculous athleticism that is shown like every single night and like big hits and things like that. Baseball, you don't have like a guy jumping over a guy to dunk a ball. You don't have a guy, truck sticking somebody either on the ice or on the football field. So you need more of that energy of each person coming out to not just, I don't want to say to make it entertaining because baseball is fun as it is. Like I enjoy baseball, but you need extra flair because like if baseball failed to do some of the things it has already done to kind of come into the modern times, you just become a boring sport that people don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Like the whole, as controversial it is with like the pitch clock and things like that, and like in the extra innings having somebody on second base already, it sped the game up, but also made the game more entertaining and exciting to casual fans.
Yes.
The diehard fans are always going to be there.
Yeah. Well,
unless you do something too crazy.
But here's just the facts. It's like the generations that whine and give a shit about all this extra shit are getting old, and eventually they won't be here. And that's like it's a wild kind of thing to say, but that like because baseball is so deeply ingrained, it's the oldest of the major leagues. It has that kind of just roots that seem permanent, but everything changes at some point. And like obviously they're testing the digital umpire in the minors this year, and then also doing the like digital ball strike challenge in spring training right now. So these are things that took them this long to even consider, but they're doing it.
Right.
Because it helps the game's integrity as well. Because baseball is a game of integrity. There's like the whole Barry Bonds not being in the Hall thing. He was the best hitter in history. literally. Like it just statistically, the runs he went on were just like bananas. It's like him and Pete Rose not being in there.
Right.
I am of the opinion that the Baseball Hall of Fame does not have integrity because of that. I like steroids are a thing, right? We get that. That sucks. To still be able to stand at the plate and hit a baseball so consistently, which is unanimously agreed by all athletes, the hardest thing to do in sports. Sorry, like he still had to have the reaction time. He still had to have the right swing. He still needed to run. Like it's in here. It's not as much your body. He just got gifted the strength to hit a ball so far. It was just comical.
Right.
But you still have to have all that has to work together. And what we see now, like there's some more expression. They do that like Players Weekend where they get to have whatever bat they want to have. You see Harper just not giving a shit and wearing whatever cleats he wants to wear on like kind of a gamely basis, which I love. And Tatis is another one that's huge for the game right now, I think. Despite his off-field kind of, he needs to chill. But there's hope for baseball. Like you can see it kind of leaching through now. But just because we said celebrations, I have to bring up hockey because I still think nothing touches certain guys with their goal celebrations.
Oh yeah,
just
hockey has some great ones too.
That instant, like, so I found a top 10 sellies of this current season.
In the National Hockey League standings.
Let's go, Hellebuck.
Scores Connor Garland. A winner by Buchkiewicz.
That's amazing.
Patty Kane. Yeah. Patty Kane taught Bedard so well with his sellies, man, before he left. I love it. Absolutely love it. There's Patty.
The gritty on the ice is crazy.
It's wild, bro. Love it.
Hughes squared, and the Devils win it.
Is that Luke? Yeah, it's Luke Hughes.
The bow.
Well, how do you like me so far, says young Frank.
That's awesome.
I love it.
And Shaku says exactly. Look at Pete Alonso. Guy looks about as athletic as a mailman, but slams balls out the park. It's true.
That's
See, but that's the thing is, I think it was the Angels posted a picture where they were all in basketball jerseys, like outside of the game. And if you just saw them and didn't know who they were, you would have no idea that they were professional athletes because it was like at the time it was like guys that looked like Prince Fielder and like and Mike Trout himself is a giant guy, but he's not like cut like a basketball or football player or anything.
Well, I think I have the perfect picture to bring up for this moment. I just do, because as soon as you said that, I was like, I know exactly who I need to show the world. We're going to get this shit out of here. Of course, it wants to fucking deny me. There's Pablo Sandoval. Look at that absolute unit. That's the panda. I'm going to keep refreshing so we get to see that belly. It's beautiful. He is still playing.
Oh, yeah. It's
not
crazy.
in the majors. He is in, what is it? There's like a league in Abu Dhabi or some shit. And he's over there.
Oh, it's over in Abu Dhabi.
And he's balling out. And I'm like, hell yeah. I saw a clip literally last week. He hit a double. And seeing him run, I was like, oh my God. He's like 45 years old and large. It's just, but it is a case of baseball was the sport that they would just say it's for everyone, because you didn't have to be the fastest. You didn't have to be this. You didn't have to be that. You had to have a set of traits that could be useful. And then you have guys like Trout, where the term 5-tool player, where they're blessed with all of it.
Right.
And I'm so glad you said Prince Fielder too, because what a sad story. His career ended the way it did. But
true.
God, I loved watching him growing up, man. When he swung correctly, there was just like, you genuinely thought the camera was going to lose the ball because it was just in a different county. like him and Howard and like all those guys. Howard for us was that guy. He was not moving. He was not moving quick, but he didn't have to a lot of the time.
Howard, you knew it was like that's either gone or a strikeout. It's one of the two.
Yeah. You'd see like a 2-strike count. You're like, all right, if it's over the plate, we're safe. If it's an inside slider, we are fucked. Because that is my man's kryptonite.
Every time.
But yeah.
But we can do a quick mock draft here because I don't
Yeah,
have as much time, but
I'll fire one. I won't overthink any picks. Just have some fun. Because we'll do this we'll adjust it. We'll like do a different one and adjust it every week, I think, until based on data we get.
This is how I have the sliders, by the way. So I did like public versus PFF board. We're gonna just put that like right in the middle.
Okay.
Care for positional value. This is how they had it, so I just left that there. Draft for needs, just kind of like up there as well. And I added a little bit of randomness because NFL drafts always have a lot of randomness. So
damn right they do.
So we will jump in to the Tennessee Titans.
Yikes. I'm okay. So all logic says that they just take Abdul Carter here. So let's go with that.
I like that. I mean, Abdul Carter, I feel like should probably be number one. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback number one. I just don't. I don't know.
Browns, go ahead and scroll down a little bit. This is not a good sign. Oh, there he is.
Cam Ward.
Yep.
I could see that.
Travis Hunter.
New England.
Will Campbell.
That's a good call because Drake May was kind of running for his life.
Just a little bit. Let's go.
I was going to go Mason Graham.
Yeah, I think
the Jaguars do need a lot of defensive line help.
Yeah, let's do it. I think this one is pretty easily Mr. Boise State himself.
Okay.
Jets. The Jets need literally everything, which is a disaster.
Do we give them Shador?
Probably. God, he is not anywhere near it. Holy fucking
damn.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't realize he was ranked that low.
Yeah. Let's just do it. Fuck the Jets. Panthers.
D-line and D-back. I mean, they could use a wide receiver, couldn't they?
Yes, but I don't think that's what they should do. I mean,
there is Barron.
Probably. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go wild card here.
Okay.
Mike Green.
Okay, from Marshall. All right.
Because he's actually a beast, but he's getting less respect because he went to Marshall.
Shaq said Abdul Carter to Philly. Let me
dream. Yes, sir. Saints. Let's go with. Yeah, let's go with McMillan.
Yeah,
I can't imagine him falling too far. The Bears. This one seems all right. This one's interesting because my two for them are Warren or Pierce, like those two next to each other. Because it's like,
I got you.
What side do you go? I think they would go Warren more.
Oh, I was gonna say I think Pierce just because they do have Cole Kmet for like another year or two, right?
They do, but Warren is literally like same deal as kind of Caleb Williams at a certain position where they're gonna view him as like transcendent.
Oh, okay.
I think because he can do kind of everything.
All right, I'll go with Warren.
And I just they want to put asses in seats, and I think that would make their offense a lot more versatile.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They need
in terms of San Fran, they definitely need offensive line help. That's for sure.
Yeah. Brock Purdy likes to not fucking move half of his damn snaps and just stand there and take shots.
They could also use interior defensive line, I feel like, because they like linebackers and edges, I feel like are fine for right now, especially like Bosa and some of the guys they have.
Let's go.
Maybe Josh Simmons.
Yeah, let's go Josh Simmons.
Dallas.
All right, you know what I'm going to do for them? Find the North Carolina running back, Hampton. He should actually be fairly high. Yeah.
26.
I am promising you that is not as much of a stretch as you think.
I don't doubt it.
Getting a lot of
Miami
hype around him.
definitely needs offensive line, but
They need
interior as well.
You don't take guards in the first round is like a rule.
I mean, they have Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan up here. This says safety, and Malachi Starks is up there. Kelvin Banks, there's a tackle that they could go for, or Membo.
I wouldn't hate that tackle for them.
Banks.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
We'll
Tua definitely wouldn't hate that. He'd love that.
He definitely would not hate that.
All right, this is James Pierce.
I love the collective hate of New York. You guys are awesome.
It's unanimous regardless of what team it is, brother.
Exactly.
No
matter what sport.
Any of them at all. If it has New York in the fucking name, they can get the hell out of my face. Just
to give you a glimpse of how much I hated New York, when I was watching the Sixers versus the Knicks, I wanted the Sixers to lose so we have a better chance of keeping our pick, and I still was cursing at the fucking Knicks and wanted to win.
All right, this is going to be James Pierce Jr. If he falls this far, the Colts are not passing him, I don't think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I
would give them Barron, I think. Shore up.
I would also give them Barron. It's actually really funny that we're doing this to Burden because every single thing I've seen has said he's going to fall, and we're really? we're making it happen. Guard, yeah. Just take Kenneth Grant. They don't draft offense. We know this.
I know.
They don't draft
O-line. Really fucking need an offensive line.
Yep, but they're not going to do it because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know what?
Do you think the Bengals are going to get wide receiver?
It's really fucking stupid, but so are the Bengals because clearly they are.
True.
And what's his forehead from last year? The idiot Jermaine Burton out of Alabama is just a fucking tool bag.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything.
And eventually T. Higgins is going to leave. Actually, you know what? Give me Emeka Egbuka here. Ohio State stays in Ohio.
Okay.
I like that more. This will be Jihad Campbell.
Yep, I could see that for sure. Tampa Bay.
Because Seattle's thing, their defense was such a scary thing for that section of the mid-2000s or 2010s where they literally were just always good. Obviously, offensively, they were solid too, but I think they need some hitters.
Tampa Bay, I'm thinking either Will Johnson or Michael Williams.
I think definitely Will Johnson.
Okay.
This will be Luther Burden.
Yeah.
You give Bo Nix a number 2 behind Sutton.
Steelers.
God, well, if they're QB now because they need to decide if they're re-signing fucking Fields or not.
I know.
What are their other ones? Wide receiver, DB.
Yeah.
Give them.
Matthew Golden is there. Trey Amos for cornerback. Malachi Starks for safety.
Give me Starks, actually.
Starks?
Yeah, give me Starks. I think in our lifetime, what was I always thought of the Steelers for that middle of the field dominance.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wouldn't hate that Shaq, but I don't know how we fit him.
Saw a ton
necessarily.
Of Fox putting Starks on Philadelphia. Yeah, that would be kind of rough fitting him in to the who you already have. Chargers. I mean, you could go Matthew Golden.
I think you would based on what we have left. Because in truth, I think what the Chargers are going to do on draft night is trade up to get somebody at
Probably.
corner, because I think they're about to lose all their corners to free agency, which is like Samuel's, I think, leaving, and then Christian Fulton might be leaving too. They're like available
Okay.
free
There's
agent wise.
also Trey Amos here. And then
The problem is
Clifton Loveland in terms of tight end.
their biggest needs are not logical at this position given what this draft has.
Yeah.
So they're either trading up for somebody or trading back for more picks to accrue multiple somebodies.
Right.
I
think then at
their
that
other
point,
need is their other needs edge though. So it is a case, I think, of like Michael Williams or Matthew Golden, because Bosa might leave.
I say we give him Williams.
Yeah.
Green Bay, they definitely need cornerback because
what's his forehead? Jair's.
Jair's on the way out. I'm surprised it says they need wide receiver because they have like 4 of them.
Yeah, but 3 of them suck. The only one I like that they have in that receiver room right now is
I love
Watson.
Reed.
See, you say I love Reed. Here's my problem with Reed, and I'll bring up his stats on this other screen. I won't share it, but I'll literally read his shit to you because it's fucking infuriating.
He's very hit or miss for sure.
So Jaden Reed, we're gonna hit the game log button. So he had 300-yard receiving games the entire season. The final one was week 9. And the highest after that was 76 in a blowout over New Orleans. And the highest after that was 48. Like, he literally just does not do enough, and he has drops and he has issues. Playoffs wise, I'm pretty sure he did absolutely nothing he had 4 catches for 46 against the Eagles, which is just not enough from like a guy that at that point Watson's out. You need him.
Yeah.
And that's all you're getting. They could take Matthew Golden here. There's rumors of Devontae going back to Green Bay.
It does say they also need edge. So there's Shamar Stewart.
Shamar Stewart would be a really good pick for them. I think a lot, like if say these were somehow all the guys that were left for them, the pick that everyone would be happiest about, I think, would be Shamar Stewart.
That makes sense. We'll go with that.
Does that say running back first for Minnesota there?
Yeah, running back, guard, defensive line, interior defensive line, and cornerback.
Well, that makes it easy then, Walter Nolan.
Yeah, I mean, he's sitting right there. Texans wide receiver, center, guard, interior defensive line. So there is Derek Harmon. I mean, Matthew Golden is also there.
This would be a spot for Golden, I think, because obviously Dell's career is in question now.
Right. And you also don't know about Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. So I think it would make sense on contingency for Houston to do that. As crazy as it might seem like in the moment. Oh, they need a tackle. Armand Membu, please.
Yep.
For 200.
Oh god.
Yeah, I'll let you do this.
I mean, Gray Zabel, wouldn't be mad at that, especially just shoring up that offensive line because they don't know if they're going to be able to re-sign Staley. So that's a wait and see type of thing. If they can't re-sign Ronnie Staley, they're going to have a lot of issues.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I think just from an outside perspective, corner or tackle is what I expect.
I agree.
But the truth is like, say Luther Burden falls this far, would not even be remotely shocked if they would take a shot on him. Because there's a lot of talk that he's going to fall to like the second, like forget like late first. So I'm like, a team that really wants to take a chance on a guy could do that. And the Ravens, obviously, like, they want a wide receiver room that's like legitimately competing for top 10 in the league.
Right.
So I could see it, but
yeah, and I mean, I definitely could see that too. I think I'm going to go Zabel just for
Yeah.
the insurance policy. But I could definitely see what you're saying as well. I don't know. I really am I just need to see what happens with like who they need to resign.
let's take Texas A&M guy,
Scourton,
Skirtin. Skirtin. He's skirting along.
Washington,
Tackle edge CB. This is probably Amos then.
Amos. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because will be Connerly.
Maybe they would do that.
There is Donovan. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. The edge from Boston College.
Izeruwaku.
It's probably
what it looks. It's what it looks like. Because now you're getting into those like early second reaches or like mid-second steals of receivers. Right.
So Connerly or Amos?
You know what? Quarterback going into his second year, already made an NFC championship. I'll say O-line makes more sense.
All right. Connerly it is. So now I think either Walker or Amos.
Let's go Amos because their secondary was just fucking so bad.
Tackle, D-line, linebacker. I mean, Jalen Walker's there. And Demetrius Knight. Who else? I mean, Derek Harmon, D-line. TJ Sanders, Tyleek Williams. Where's the next linebacker? Carson Schwezinger.
That's Schwarzenegger. Let's just rearrange it. He's from California. It makes sense.
True.
I
feel like maybe Jalen Walker.
For the Antichrist. Yeah, we'll see. Here's the problem. He goes to Georgia, so by default he has to fall to Philly. So we gotta take the South Carolina guy.
All right. I'll give him Demetrius Knight.
As we know over years of experience now. What does it even say we need? It says we need a wide receiver. I disagree, but okay.
Yeah. Guard, edge, and cornerback.
I really disagree, but all right. And I don't think Slay already said he's kind of on his way out, so CB would make sense. That's really fucking good.
That's really solid.
Huh? Let me just give me a sec. Where did yeah, okay, that's what I thought. All right, yeah, let's take him. Take him for the Eagles.
Donovan.
Yep.
All right.
Donovan's
the
Eagle,
name. The
Billy
Eagle
knows.
goes to the Eagles.
It's yeah. All right. That's our first one. We'll integrate trades in the future because there's gonna be a fuck ton, I think.
I think that's a solid first one.
I don't mind it. I think it fits for team needs. The Bengals one is the one that I'm like, I could fucking see it because T. Higgins is on a franchise tag again. I think you're doing that a second time. That kind of says long term is not possible, and they really don't know what they're doing financials wise.
Right.
So you're gonna need a guy. I know it's a first round rookie deal, but it's still cheaper than a lot. So
cheaper than T. Higgins.
Yeah, T will get whatever contract he wants.
My only pick of ours that I think will probably be very different is Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah,
I feel like he'll most likely go a lot higher.
Well, my assumption, and this is fully assumption, it's just like I have the hunch that Tennessee is going to trade out of number one.
Mm-hmm.
And the team, I think, would be fully willing to like wager being like relegating themselves to mediocrity for even longer is the Raiders. And I think the Raiders could get up there and just steal Cam Ward from this draft. I just, for whatever reason, my spidey senses are like, that shit's going to fucking happen.
If
And
that
Shador-
happens, then Cleveland's definitely picking Shador Sanders.
Oh, it's either that or Shador's falling. That's the options. And
Well, it would be very Cleveland to pick Shador Sanders after Shador Sanders talked about not wanting to go to Cleveland.
yes, you are very correct. So, because I look at the Giants, I'm like, the 26 class is better for quarterback, like unanimously. Like it is just looking better from stats, like stepping back. And there's another quarterback we didn't mock draft that I think is going to go in the first round is Jackson Dart.
Oh yeah,
I think 100% he's going in the first. I am mentally trying to figure out what team is going to do that.
right.
Because what I think is going to happen is the team that takes
Steelers.
Well, see, that's one of my thoughts. But my other thought is it's going to be a team like New Orleans is going to trade back from 9, get a shit ton of picks from somebody that desperately wants to get somebody that's still on the board. And then they'll have a chance to get him at a spot that makes more sense while also getting draft capital.
Right.
Because I like Spencer Rattler, but it is a case of like a team like New Orleans. It's like, okay, do you want to do that and go with Rattler for a year, or do you want to try and make the splash? You just hired a new head coach who's very offensive minded in Kellen Moore, and you give him a guy to work with from day one. So that's kind of where I'm at there, because every other team after them, I mean, the Colts could be a sneaky team too, because Richardson, we have no fucking clue what's going on with him.
That's true.
So that's like, there's all these kind of wild cards where a team could do a thing and it just seems crazy, but you're like, actually. But I like this as a template to like look back at and see how much we change it by the time draft night comes.
Yeah. And to be honest, one other dark horse team for me, quarterback wise, is going to be Miami, just because of Tua's concussion history.
Yep. I agree with that.
They might just try to hedge their bet at this point, because we all saw the slew of backups they threw out there. Good Lord. It was not a fun time. Shakir says, wide receiver, what are these people smoking? Knowing Howie, we're going to get a defensive lineman.
That's not wrong. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But it is literally like, I'm looking at the Eagles as a team. Like, obviously in the years past, like when we drafted Devontae, we leapfrogged the Giants. It wasn't a major trade in terms of like positions gained. It was only 2 spots.
Mhm.
But it was tactical and effective, and it got us a guy and kept that guy out of our division.
Right.
And obviously he's meant the world. And then getting Jordan Davis, obviously he's had his ups and downs, but he's clearly developing in the correct direction. And then getting Jalen Carter, I just cannot express my joy and happiness that man is a fucking Eagle. Holy shit. And yeah, Shaq, you've said exactly what I'm thinking, because even at the combine, Howie said, I need the fans to be patient this offseason because some things are going to happen that might not make everybody happy right away. And so he was like, some names might move around and everything. And I'm like, either he's just doing this as like a smokescreen, or he's just being that blunt and upfront that we're doing some shit, because he's capable of both.
Right.
But I honestly think I would be very surprised if the Eagles actually pick at 32. And whether that means we trade out of the first or trade up, or trade the pick completely. I would be very shocked if we actually pick at that spot. Because the luck we've had in past drafts where the guys we wanted somehow fell into our lap. Like Quinyon Mitchell at 22 last year is the steal of my lifetime.
That's insane.
It makes no fucking sense. And then you trade up with your division rival, who you then defeat in the NFC Championship game, to draft Cooper DeJean is just crazy. Like,
It also is wild to me that like I feel as though people were passing on Quinyon Mitchell just because he went to Toledo and not a big school, which is like time and time again has been if somebody is rumored to be a first round talent, no matter what school they're at, usually like they have the talent to back it up. And if he
Yeah.
is so good and went to Toledo and still considered a first round talent, I feel as though that's usually going to be a hit.
Yeah.
But
well,
I mean, obviously weirder things have happened in the NFL, but I don't know. That was just my thought process.
well, the thing that killed me was like every team has scouts at the fucking Senior Bowl. And he went nuts. Like all the first round receivers didn't do shit against him. Like nothing. And I'm like, so you see that in a one-on-one situation where it literally is the wide receiver has to have the will to beat the CB and vice versa. And Quinyon won every single time. And then he goes to the combine and just puts up like batshit numbers for a guy his size. He did like 26 reps of the bench press. And he's
That's
a
insane.
he's a CB. And then he squatted 550. 550, brother. I'm like, put him in on the tush push. Fuck Dallas Goedert. Get him out of there. Put Quinyon in. Jesus Christ. It's
Yeah,
insane.
that's just ridiculous.
But that's what I mean. I'm like, he has all these strength, athleticism, speed, vision. He doesn't let people get behind him, which is literally everything for a corner. Like, you never let a receiver get behind you with that extra step. And he just didn't all year, clearly, because he gave up nothing. It's insane. Like, he gave up one touchdown all year, and it was like in a game that was pretty much wrapped. So, yeah, I think he's had so much success in the draft that at no points in the draft is he ever phased by anything. He always has a pivot that's available because he plans it this way. But that's why I think this year offers so many pivots that it just I will genuinely be shocked if they sit at 32, unless literally a guy they think is just everything is somehow still there. That's the only way they stay there, in my opinion. Because even like obviously Nolan Smith, they drafted him late, like 30 or 31. So
it's funny because like I always thought that both of our teams were two of the best like drafting teams when we had Ozzie Newsome as our GM. And now with Eric DaCosta, like don't get me wrong, I think DaCosta's been pretty good. But Ozzie Newsome and I feel like Ozzie Newsome and Howie both like were cut from the same cloth. Like they were insane drafters.
it's just that ridiculous blend of like he has ruthless aggression where he will literally do any like that the trade for AJ Brown. Like I remember watching that draft live and just everyone was shook, not just the Eagles fans. Everyone was like, what the how?
Yeah.
Like how do you make that happen? And then to have the other side of that coin, like the complete opposite, to have the patience to just sit on your hands and let a draft unfold the way it did to take Quinyon at 22 is, or even Jalen Carter the year before. It's like, how can you have both?
Right.
Like it's just most GMs are built one way and they operate that same way every single year where you can predict them. Howie's just so unpredictable. Like you genuinely don't know if he's going to trade the universe for one guy that he's like, this is a franchise player for his career. Or if he's just going to sit back and let that dude fall in his lap. So, like, I'm stoked. Obviously, like the Eagles won the Super Bowl, so I'm already sitting here like, okay, this is a great calendar year. We're chilling. But then you get to the draft, and I love the draft so much because you don't know what's happening. Like, it's one of my favorite sporting events of the entire year. So I could not be more stoked to see how this goes down.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so fun. Well, and we're definitely gonna be doing some live streaming with it, so it'll be a great time.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all the topics we had today.
Yeah. Covered them all. We are Ash Ketchum. Nailed it.
funny you say that on Pokemon Day.
Is it actually?
Yeah, today's Pokemon Day. They just had their big Pokemon announcement thing too.
It's my uncle's birthday. That's all I know the 27th is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will say they did announce a really cool new Pokemon game that is they said it's in development. If you've ever played Pokemon Stadium,
Okay.
it's essentially a new Pokemon Stadium that you can play on your phone and the Switch. And
my girlfriend and I might get a Switch, so this is good news because we could have something to look forward to.
oh yeah, I have a Switch. I highly recommend the Switch. All the latest Pokemon games I've had a lot of fun with, but so it's called Pokemon Champions, and it's just straight up battling, and you have Pokemon Home. I don't know if you've heard of Pokemon Home.
Oh, no.
So essentially, Home is like you can take your Pokemon from any modern Pokemon game and put them into the Pokemon Home and then use them in Pokemon Champions.
Okay, that's a really cool concept.
So right now I'm playing like Pokemon Arceus Legends and then Pokemon Scarlet. And so what I did was I took the like legendary like god Pokemon that I had from Arceus and put them into Pokemon Home, and I brought them into Scarlet just to play. And
I had to bring this up because I just saw it.
And it's insane. But yeah, I just saw he finished with 56 points.
Yeah, but look at the dates.
Steph loves Pokemon Day.
Yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck is this?
Pokemon Day for Steph is like threes, gotta shoot them all.
And he hits them. I just oh, somebody mentioned it right here. Top comment. It's actually Pokemon Day. But I think the craziest part about this, to finish on a sports thing, this is 12 years apart.
Yeah, that's insane.
Need we say more about the greatness of Stephen Curry? I think not.
It's so easy to cheer for Steph Curry too. He's just like genuinely a good dude.
You know the only thing I don't like, and this is shitty of me to say this, the only thing I don't like is after every fucking three, he does the point thing.
Oh yeah.
It's just like do it a couple times, man. Not every single one. It's like cook something up. Give me that like Jalen Hurts celebration in the NFC Championship. That's what the fuck I do. Like, give me something.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at that point, I'm like,
his one
too much.
His one where he came back from like a long layoff injury and like immediately had like 30 points and like hit the three at the very end of the game and was just like he like just turned around and said like I'm fucking back.
Yeah.
Like
that's the like I look at Steph, I'm like he's genuinely humble.
Oh yeah.
That I'll always love. But I'm like, you can let this shit loose, man. Like you're the greatest shooter that we've ever seen. Just let it loose. Like we know you've got that energy. How many rings you got? Everything.
His night celebration. That was fucking.
That's bro. It's cold as fuck.
I love that.
But that's what I mean. I'm like, we've seen you cook, man. We've seen you cook.
Exactly.
I want to see it again. I gotta watch the highlights from this because I'm sure he was just going insane.
He had to have been because, like I said, in the first half, Orlando looked really, really good. And Banchero
this was a road
finished
game, right?
Yeah, Banchero finished with 41 points.
Yeah, but that's the other thing too. To do this on the road twice, clearly, unless that first one was also an MSG, which it might have been, because obviously the middle one that's clearly OKC's court.
Yeah,
like to do this shit on the road.
Shaq, I completely forgot about the Jameson Williams celebration.
God damn it! And then to lose, you did that, and then you lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Not good.
I completely forgot about that celebration. Oh,
Jesus.
Uh,
And then we went from one JW to another one doing Super Bowl press and giving us the biggest laughs we've ever had with Jameis doing just everything down there in Nolans. What the fuck?
That was hilarious when Jameis asked Saquon Barkley, like, "Hey, I need a job. Who should I talk to?"
I think the Giants need a quarterback. He's like, thank you very much, sir. He was like dancing on a bar on Bourbon Street with like an eye patch on it and freaking pirate hat. I'm like, who? I was like, A, who hired him because you're a genius.
Oh yeah.
B, thank God they didn't say there's any rules because he was just doing everything.
Oh, he did anything you wanted.
And it was beautiful. Next week we're gonna have fun. This is a fun one. This was a very fun podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I need to get my ass to bed because I'm exhausted.
we are doing no immaculate grid because our brains are jello.
Yes. I don't think we're gonna pull anybody.
I would be like Penn State, Hingle McCringleberry.
The dude's construction noises.
Torque.
Thanks again for tuning in, Shaq. We appreciate you being here. We should be back next week. We're probably gonna have mock drafts leading up until the draft, so
And then
especially once the combine's over.
We will have our draft special. Once I see that PFF has their draft guide, that's when I'll make the videos because I want it to look the same.
Yep.
Because I think having that was just such a good resource.
Oh
But yeah.
Cool. Sounds
think
good
we're
to me. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please drop a like below if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you enjoy our podcast as well, and hit the bell. It lets you know when we go live because sometimes we don't pre-plan it out. We just go live, as Shaq has seen. And we are also everywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. So check us out on there as well. We appreciate you. Thank you again, Shaq. We will see you next week as well, hopefully. And we will talk to everybody again soon. Peace.